and all those who believe in the gurukula system. There is no other issue more important today than education. And this is a problem and an opportunity from throughout the world. It's very important that education does not just simply produce jobs or provide skills or mere information. It must develop character. It must develop the inner awareness, and it must allow the student to have original thoughts, direct experience, and to be able to adapt to all the changes going on in the world today and in the normal course of human life. And I would have to say that throughout the world, the educational systems are failing, particularly even so in India, because what is being produced is more information, data, technology, outer images, and attempts to control the outer world without understanding our inner self and inner being. True education is also about developing power of awareness, power of attention, receptivity to the whole of life, direct perception, and the ability to have our own direct experience of life. Today, we live in the media. We say that the world is Maya. The media is the Maya of the Maya. And today, we are drawing second-hand information from people who are trained to study second-hand sources only, like journalists. And the true gurus are not really being honored except in some exceptional ways. Instead, we follow mere opinions, data, information, often what is no more than a prejudice. And we train the students not to discover the inner truth as through yoga and Vedanta, but to get caught up in ideologies, and in ideologies or belief systems. Sadly, I would have to say many of them coming from the West, and substituting these type of ideologies with the pursuit of truth, which is very different. I remember about 20 years ago, we had given a huge program at JNU, Jawaharlal Nehru University, on the antiquities of the Vedas in India. I think we had about 500 students overall. And we presented all the archaeological, geological, textual evidence with about a dozen different presenters, of which I was one. And we were wondering, in the end, what the questions would be. And there were only two, but one I remember very distinctly. And the student said, yes, we can see from the information you have presented us that the Vedas have its antiquity, origins in India, and there's a continuity of civilization in India from the most early period. However, because this information is politically advantageous to certain Hindu groups, it should be suppressed even if it is true. So we live in a world where data is being spun to project or uphold certain points of view, and the outer pursuit of ideology and politics has more weight than any real pursuit of truth. And this is happening in many schools, areas throughout the world. Then in India, in Bharat, there is this tremendous culture, vast ancient culture, not only Veda, Yoga, Vedanta, all these Vedangas, etc. There's also the art, the temple worship, music, dance, so many things. This culture needs to be preserved. And today we can say that there is very little culture being preserved in educational systems, particularly in India, and certainly not educationally culture in the Bharatiya tradition. The people, the intellectuals know Shakespeare, but they don't know Kalidas. And they pride themselves in not knowing their own tradition, intellectuals in India, including journalists, writers. And yet they will pontificate as to what is the idea of India, where did India come from, where is India going? And naturally they don't see much of India before 1947 because their own idea of history doesn't go back that far. So now there is this, we could also say cultural battle, cultural war going on. You're well aware of that. But it's very important to preserve the culture, not just simply for local value, but for value throughout the world. Where we go now in the world, we teach yoga, Ayurveda, Vedanta, Jyotish, other aspects of the Vedic teachings. And there is a large audience for that globally. And at the same time, here in India, it's being not given its proper due, although that is coming up. We also see when we come to India a lot of missionary activity going on, NGOs promoting the Western culture, Western religion. I'm not saying that's necessarily wrong, but there also needs to be an understanding of the culture and tradition here. India, Bharat is unique. India must be Bharat. We do not need another socialist, communist, Islamic, Christian state for India to be. That is not its identity. That is not the heritage that it carries. And that is what needs to be preserved. At the same time, in the education, it's very important that we develop character, which means dharmic values, yamas, niyamas, all of that. And also that the overall development should have an inner awareness. We must teach the students not only how to think, but how to be aware. The power of attention, dharana shakti, buddhi shakti. Today's students have an attention span of a few seconds only. And if that is the case, that is your dharana. And anything from the outside can influence you and tell you what to do. You cannot be an independent thinker if you don't have the power of attention. And if you are dominated by your outer senses and mere physical, social, political, materialistic views of reality. So that inner cultivation of awareness is the most important thing. Now, when we look at the educational models today, as we say, the technological models are deficient. I'm not saying you shouldn't learn technology, computers, cell phones, social media, all of that. That is important. You should have job skills relating to the modern world, which is constantly changing and needs to be updated. But there should be an inner, deeper place of awareness, deeper attention from which we can judge things. And that is what the Gurukulam teaches us. The model of the Guru who represents and embodies a consciousness, and not just simply data, information, and skills, although those who develop an inner consciousness can have much by way of all the outer activities of the mind. So the Gurukulam model, I think, is the best model of education. We also have to learn in our interaction with the guru, the teacher, and other students. What happens today is we are caught up in an interaction with machines and technology, which means we become more mechanical. The student tends to imitate or reflect his or her environment. If that is only a computer or a cell phone or a screen, the student becomes two-dimensional. The way of thinking becomes superficial. The idea is you can have a memory data bank or you can cut and paste knowledge, information. That does not change the character. Swami Vivekananda emphasized this character development, and Vedanta emphasizes the development of the sattvic buddhi, viveka, vairagya, so that we can move to the understanding of Atman, Brahman. We can move beyond the simple outer factors of life and expression. So the Gurukula model is not only necessary here in the Indian context, it needs to be developed and shared and expanded throughout the entire world. And it is the best model that allows us to use our information technology in a higher way, so that we're not just the victims of it, so that we know what the right data is, and also when data is limited. In the yoga system, ultimate means of knowledge, ultimate pramana is samadhi, deep meditation. It is not something from mere words or outer factors. So I'm very happy to see the Prabodhini Gurukula and the other Gurukulams in India that are sustaining and developing this tradition in Bharat and doing it in an integral way, including the agriculture, the ecology, including the arts, including the philosophy, including all the branches of modern knowledge, but also with the Veda, the Vedanta, the deeper insight. And this model needs to be shared globally. So it's very important that the students who go through the system can become teachers to share the Gurukula system worldwide. And as Yogini Shambhavi always emphasizes, each family should be a Gurukulam. The Gurukulam should start in your own family. And the knowledge of the Hindu Sanatana Dharma should start in the own family. There should be basic knowledge of Vedanta that all the Hindu children are taught, so that when someone asks them, what do you believe, what does you follow, what is your religion, they know Atma, Ishvara, Karma, rebirth, all these things, and not so difficult, so that we can move beyond and take a place in this clash of education and clash of culture going on. So we are very happy to see that in India today, this Gurukula model is arising, and Prabodhini now, after 24 years, now this model is gaining maturity, it is becoming expansive, it can move out to the world as a whole. It is also preserving the Sanskrit language, which is the foundation of the deeper learning. And I would ask you to consider expanding this model to other countries, other communities, because unless we develop that Gurukula model of awareness, attention, direct learning, then this technology may destroy us or will certainly cripple and limit us. We should be masters of the information technology, not slaves of it. You know, if you are driving a car down the road, you don't need all the datas of all the cars that ever drove on that road. You need to have your eyes open and see what is going on. So the Gurukula model teaches us that inner drishti, that inner seeing, that inner awareness, through which we can develop and use all these forms of technology. The ultimate network is to the cosmic mind, not just simply to the computer network, the Mahat Tattva. All knowledge is inherent within everyone, in the Akasha, Paramatma. So we must develop that model as well. And in India, the basic knowledge of yoga, Vedanta, Ayurveda should be taught to all students. Not as a matter of propaganda, but as a matter of right living in harmony with the universe. As physics teaches us, we live in a self-aware universe. Atman is everywhere. Minds are different. Different opinions are there. We can honor these. But it's very important that this Vedic Gurukula model has its full support in the entire community, is part of the family, is part of the temple, and is projected as the ultimate learning model. and that we have living, aware mentors, acharyas to share this knowledge, and that we honor and respect it for the value that it has. Compared to it, these other learning models are secondary, superficial, or even in many instances downright wrong. So please preserve this heritage as a voice from the other side of the world and bring it out for the benefit of all humanity. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hare Om.